dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
Hi guys, well now that the Christmas season is well and truly on us, the Blue ISIS are going to be doing their utmost to revenue generate over the coming weeks. Granted, this exercise does catch drink drivers, and to be fair, no one wants drink drivers on the road, but it's also used to bump up other statistics. Getting stopped by the police is an inevitability when you're a driver, but being picked on, harassed, detained or arrested for revenue generation exercises shouldn't be. So be vigilant when you're on the roads. Remember that even 1 mile an hour over the speed limit will give the police a reason to stop you and waste your time, just as forgetting to indicate as going round a corner would. So I'm going to give you 8 tips to help you stay safe on the roads this Christmas if you find yourself targeted for a traffic stop. Number 1, the police can stop you at any time and ask you to take a breath test. If they think you've been drinking, if they think you've committed a traffic offence, this could be something like failing to indicate, or if you've been involved in a road traffic accident. If the officer thinks you're under the influence of drugs as well, then they can ask you to take a drug test or do a physical test, which is normally called a field impairment test. The police can also stop you at any time under the Road Traffic Act. We'll talk about that more shortly. And also if they believe that there is criminality involved. For example, they have reasonable suspicion that the vehicle you're in may be stolen or involved in crime. But again, they would need reasonable suspicion in order to stop you for that. If you are stopped, you should listen to what the police officer has to say and what their reasonable suspicion is. This is especially important if they're trying to create an offence. But remember, there's no point in arguing with the police or telling them they can't stop you, because they do have the power to stop you. And arguing will simply cause them to waste more of your time, knowing that they're getting paid no matter how long they spend with you. Number 2, you do not have to speak to them. Speaking to the police through an open window gives them the opportunity to suggest that they can smell alcohol on your breath. This will lead to a breath test and maybe a drug swipe, preventing you from going about your lawful activities. My advice when being stopped is to only open your window enough to hear them and for them to hear you if you choose to speak to them. 1 inch or 2 should be sufficient, although they will try and get you to open your window more by suggesting they can't hear you. And if this is the case, I'd suggest you just speak louder. But I also suggest not speaking at all. In fact, Section 164 of the Road Traffic Act says you must produce your licence. This could just as easily mean showing them your licence through the window or passing it to them through a slightly open window. Section 165 of the same Act says you must give your name and address. Again, this can be done by simply handing them your licence. I should point out, however, that Section 164 Part 2 does state that a driver must, in prescribed circumstances, on being required by the constable, state his date of birth. Now, this is worded differently from the other 2 I've just mentioned, as it specifically says you must state your date of birth. So you will have to vocalise this if asked under Section 164 of the Road Traffic Act. If asked for other details such as MOT or insurance, although we already know they will have checked that before stopping you, you can indeed simply show them those documents too without speaking. Number 3. Don't get out of your car. The police love to intimidate people during traffic stops, asking them to get into the back of their car. Now, this is done to make you feel intimidated and fearful, and can often lead to you talking, which of course is not what you want to do. There is nothing that says you have to get into their vehicle, and I recommend that you do not. It is not for your benefit. You are not there to help the police pin something on you. The police have the burden of proof. And by staying stum and remaining in your vehicle, you remain at your safest. Obviously, they will try and make out that you have to talk or you have to get in their vehicle, but you don't. No matter what they say, the only time you have to get out of your vehicle is if you're being arrested. Everything else can be done from the comfort and warmth of your driver's seat. Number 4, tell your passengers to keep quiet and remain in the vehicle. If it's a simple traffic stop, then the focus is on the driver and not the passengers. Passengers may be the focus if they've been stopped because they believe you have committed an offence other than a road traffic offence, or they were not wearing their seatbelt. But other than that, your passengers should remain silent and seated. A belligerent passenger could lead to more of your time being wasted. Number 5, when you're pulled over, leave your seatbelt on. Turn your ignition off and do not fidget. Even if you go to get your licence out before the police is asking for it, they could construe that as you trying to conceal something, and they'll have no qualms about holding you up for ages while they search your vehicle and call a sniffer dog out. Removing your seatbelt could also be used against you, as the police officer could say you were not wearing it whilst you were driving. Number 6, be smart. Remember that everything you say and do will be used against you. The police will try and intimate that you're doing something wrong by not speaking to them or not getting into their vehicle. They will tell you that if you've nothing to hide, then you've nothing to fear. Okay then. But the main thing is, do not feel intimidated by the police. Number 7, don't break the law. Now, although we understand that many police are narcissistic and have serious personality disorders, they are enforcing laws as well as trying to enforce their opinions. And although we don't stand for police policing their opinions, laws are there for a reason. And you should not attempt to break them by drink driving or anything similar to that. Number 8, film your interaction. If you get pulled over this Christmas, make sure that you record as much of the interaction as possible. You are perfectly within your rights to film the police going about their duties, and they cannot stop you unless you're being arrested. If you have a passenger, get them to film for you if you don't want to film yourself. But whatever you do, film them. This is your only real evidence if they start to abuse their powers, and you should start recording as soon as possible without being called out for looking like you've tried to conceal something. I would simply suggest that you wait for the officer to come to your window. When they can see you and what you're doing, then take your phone and start recording before speaking to the police or opening your window. Now, I hope this short video helps this festive period. If any of you have the police advice cards they've been selling on the channel, then you can simply hand them one of those along with your driving licence. It will clearly explain that you understand your rights in advance of the police getting shitty about the fact you refuse to talk to them. Have a great Christmas and stay safe.
Good night, all.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.